Hi Virgo, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot. Welcome to your 2021 preview. Because I'm very long-winded and I can't get through a month within like 45 minutes, I kind of started to rethink doing all 12 months. I think we'd both be here for a really long time. So we're breaking it down to the first 6 months, and we're going to do like a mini reading for each month. And then somewhere along summertime during one of those mid-months, I will update the second 6 months. These have been really fun so far. What I do want to do really quick is kind of go over your astrology again. I'm not sure why I always get the urge to go over the astrology more with you guys, Virgo. Maybe because some of you are a little bit more in tune with the details, that you're more interested in the transits that are occurring. So I want to talk to you about the major theme in 2021, which is the Saturn-Uranus square. Now we're starting off the year, as I'm taping this actually today, Saturn and Jupiter. Well, Saturn moved into Aquarius today, and in a couple days Jupiter will join them, and they will have an actual conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This is moving all of these heavy, slow-moving, weighty planets out of your 5th house, and we're moving into 6th house energy. Now, the thing about the 6th house is it's Virgo's house. It's your level of mastery. This is going to feel somewhat like a comfort zone. The thing that people always tease my Virgos about, their ability to focus, have really healthy routines, pay attention to the detail. These are all 6th house matters. So if any of you are out there and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not really like that kind of a Virgo, like, you know, you could say, no, I procrastinate, or no, my house is a mess. And well, probably not by the end of 2021. I think we're all going to kind of get squeezed into the canister of what we're here to do and who we're here to be. And not in a bad way. I don't want anybody to feel like, you know, we're all going to turn into AI or something. It's quite opposite. For some reason, 2021 starts to build us into, or, you know, we begin to have the ability to be very authentic. We start to tap into gifts we didn't know we had, talents. We start to feel brave and courageous enough to showcase different sides of ourselves. And it really is, you know, when you think of the star card, the Aquarius card in tarot, there isn't one out here. I wish there was. It is a naked person, so very vulnerable, very open. And I think that's part of what we're becoming. And as well, the 6th house is such a big critical house, because there's a buildup of all of the things you learned, all of the things that you are emotionally, privately. You begin to master this part of self. And then the 7th house is kind of who we are when we connect with other people. It's who we are in the world, how we connect to others. So, you know, for us, we've been given the chance to kind of really master all of these lessons we've been learning over the past few years, which is a lot about gaining that emotional stability and that strength and that backbone. I feel like Virgos have grown tremendously over these past few years. And I think 2020 was kind of having to really fight for yourself, fight for the things that you love. And having to probably fight really hard to get back to yourself. In 2021, you're not going to want to give that up. You're going to become really strong. And what I like is that we're starting off 2021 with the sun in your 5th house. We're really starting it off with the eclipse in your 4th house. So it's a steady progression of your emotional self and how you're growing all the way into the 10th house. The sun will be in your 10th house this summer, in the sign of Gemini, joining that north node. So the pressure is going to kind of build on you to decide who you want to be, how you want to contribute to the world. Now, it doesn't mean that we're all going to go out and get completely different careers, although that is likely. You will see a lot of people changing their careers this next year. You will see a lot of people moving, and not just moving to another city. I'm talking about moving to other states, across country. People that lived in the city probably moving out to the country. You know, I think we're all needing a change of scenery. And I think we've all changed at all these levels, all these deep, deep parts of ourselves through 2020. And now we have to kind of embody it. We don't have a choice. There's no avoiding it anymore. And so our lives will start to reflect all of the changes that we have made in the inside. So this is a critical time for Virgo. This is a critical time to show the universe and everyone else how strong you've become. Now, starting off the month in January, and I've pulled an oracle card for every 2 months. So the overall theme for January and February, the first couple of months of the year, is courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. So yes, I am telling everyone that 2021 isn't like this miraculous new beginning. We wake up happy and everything's fine again. There's still a struggle, and actually January and February are pretty tumultuous, similar to the end of December. So we're not out of the woods yet. Pay attention, because there's often some big lessons when we have this level. And you have to remember that Jupiter and Saturn are both the social planets. So it's all about how we relate to each other collectively. We're still in that arena of relationships playing a big part of our lives, as well as our energy and how it affects other people. So that's even as far as like coworkers. It's going to be really hard for people to stay in relationships that aren't working. It's going to be nearly impossible for people to stay in jobs or careers that they're not happy with. So we're starting off your energy for January in this 5 of Wands. And I feel like there's, a level of conflict. Now, I do have to say, when I started to pull your cards, Virgo, I had an intense headache right here. So I think there's some crown chakra stuff going on for you guys. And one of the things is that you may be in an overanalyzing mode. I think that this 5 of Wands is extremely internal, meaning you're probably not fighting with other people. There probably isn't as much drama in your outside world as much as like the thoughts in your head. I also feel a lot of pressure in my shoulders, telling me that you probably feel like you're carrying a lot of weight. You have a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Things are cultivating, things are, really coming to a head, this 5 of Wands. I also think there's a little bit of shadow work to be done. I think there's always a good time when we're facing challenges, even if it is just like that internal conflict. There's always that part of us that kind of knows better. You know, that part that's like, okay, these are just negative thoughts. They're not facts. I am, in fact, okay. I am safe at this time. And, it's a part of you that knows better. And this might be a period of time when you really have to start to get disciplined, right? 6th house is a lot about your day-to-day practices as far as spirituality. It's still connected to that 12th house, but it's how you use it on a day-to-day basis. And if you know or understand what the universe is really about, what the whole vibration thing is, Abraham Hicks thing, it's about maintaining that vibration on a daily basis so that those things can be brought into reality. So it's not having, you won't get a lot of success if you're somebody who's super negative and then, you go to church and you feel really great for that 1 hour on Sunday. You have to find ways to integrate this daily, regularly. And I think it's going to be really important. And what happens is, if you are not in that place where you're making meditation or inner solitude, finding a safe place for you, finding a safe place to clear your thoughts, finding mental rest in the month. You're going to be provoked by other people. So then the Five of Wands does become kind of external, and I feel like it's going to be maybe sarcastic comments or, you know, innocent almost comments from other people that could really throw you off or rub you the wrong way in the month of January. Now, oddly enough, your supporting energies is that of the Emperor and the Two of Cups in reverse. So, not really crazy about this energy, but we have to keep in mind that this is a supporting energy. Now, the Emperor energy, I feel, is the energy that you're in. And I feel like Virgo's kind of getting provoked to kind of put themselves first, right? We have Mars moving forward in your 8th house and making his way into your 9th house in the beginning of the year, making a conjunction with Uranus. These are pretty revolutionary moments. And I think Virgo's pretty revolutionary in the beginning of this year. And by that, I mean super independent, super, I know what's best for me. Now, the thing is, being in the Emperor energy gives you the motivation and it gives you the courage, just like they said, courage to kind of set people straight in a way. You know, if there's people that are taking you for granted, if there are people that are lying or mistreating you, I don't think Virgo's going to put up with it for 2 seconds. And also, I don't see a whole lot of emotional stuff. The Two of Cups in reverse tells me that you're not really worried about having to disappoint some people. It doesn't feel like it's going to be, I don't feel it as somebody who's kind of regretting or hoping they don't have to, you know, this is kind of more the energy of it just coming out. Like you just finally saying that. And I'm getting this energy for a lot of my signs this month. It's not really like a slow build up or kind of figuring out how you're going to gently explain something to someone. This is more like a, I've had enough, I'm done. Take this and shove it up your ass kind of energy. Now, the thing about the Two of Cups is even if you're in the moment thinking this is ultimately the right thing to do, right? Like, I've got to have my back. This is Virgo certainly like choosing themselves in whatever situation. But the Two of Cups tells me that some of the situations are kind of significant. And this can represent somebody that you're very close to emotionally, somebody in your day-to-day world. It could be a child, it could be a significant other, it could be a best friend. And with that, I do want to urge you to tap into that 6th house energy, to start to make sure that you're taking the time to kind of get zen. Don't get so overwhelmed, because the more overwhelmed you are, the more static. It feels staticky in my head. Like there's just so much noise around you, Virgo, like other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, other people's needs. And it's almost like gears kind of grinding to a halt. A lot of stress. So the less that you address your needs, the less that you allow yourself the space and the time to tune it out a little bit, the more I feel like you're going to regret what happens. Because I don't think this is how you really truly feel, and I don't think it's really how you want to express yourself. The antagonizing energy is that of the Queen of Swords in reverse, and I think that pretty much says it all. Now, you might have a Queen of Swords in your life. You might be dealing literally with an air sign, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, or this is just somebody who is in either a really negative place. You'll know if this is you or somebody, like I said, that's very close to you. this person is in a very negative place, almost kind of feeling hopeless, not really seeing a future in something or in everything. A lot of times with the Queen of Swords in reverse, it could also be somebody who's extremely argumentative and maybe even a little bit of a narcissist. You might be feeling like you're getting a little bit manipulated or gaslighted in some ways. I do feel like this is kind of bringing out a power dynamic, which will exist in January as we have Mars kind of going through that final square with Pluto. And that's still your 5th house, house of romance, house of children. Like I said, this could be a child that you're dealing with. Making a square over to that 8th house at the very end of your 8th house, which is all about your values, how you valued yourself, shared resources, and sex and intimacy and trust. So this could even bring up some pretty severe trust issues. You not being able to trust somebody. Maybe you caught somebody recently in a lot of lies, or somebody that you just feel like you can't rely on. Okay, so moving into February, we start to, your overall energy is the 3 of Cups in reverse. I am picking up on a vibe in February of things being kind of a little more isolated. Now, the 3 of Cups in reverse is probably, at the very least, the inability to connect or socialize. Maybe you've got a lot going on at work. Maybe there's a lot going on with your career. February kind of feels like Virgo starts to take some things a little more serious now. And I also get the vibe that Virgo's not really focused on love. I don't think you particularly want to be out there meeting anybody. I don't think that you're kind of starting that dating profile. This feels like Virgo's trying to get really focused, and it feels like maturity. Again, this Jupiter and Saturn in your 6th house. There might be actually some kind of cool forms of technology, not necessarily related to this card, but yet coming up intuitively. Maybe utilizing different kinds of apps that could make you, because that's Aquarius. It's all about integrating technology. So there could be some kind of apps that kind of help you with things like your diet, your nutrition. Maybe there's even meditation apps or classes you can take online. Anything that you can do to strengthen your spirituality is always very good during these transits as well. This can kind of go either or for you guys. So sometimes when we're dealing with the 6th house, 12th house axis of stuff, it could also talk to our coping mechanisms. Sometimes at the 6th house, there seems to be a lot of pressure, like a lot of people depending on you. Sometimes feeling like you're doing more than others. Sometimes it's a time when you are called to be of service. So it's a lot of having to self-sacrifice in some ways. You have to integrate ways in your life to make it easier for you. I feel like in some ways you're kind of spreading yourself a little too thin, and the 3 of Cups in reverse might be showing you the hard way how you have to start to make life a little bit easier. Now, the supporting energies are quite beautiful. You've got the 9 of Cups and the Chariot, so there seems to be something that's really magical about February. I think there's a path of least resistance. I think that if you stay focused, if you are centered and grounded, which is very much 3 of Cups in reverse, you know, it's and I don't want to say like it's not a time to dream or imagine a better future. It's just time to integrate it on a daily basis. You know, if you have dreams that you want to go back to school, even if it's so much as starting a budget or just starting, like make a checklist of the things that you have to do in order to get to that point, figuring out student loans or, you know, whatever that is. if you have the big dream, it's always good to kind of narrow it down into smaller goals. Now is a really good time, and you're going to have a lot of luck in that way. The Chariot is definitely forward movement. So looks as though January, you walking away from something that was probably draining you and taking you away from what you truly want to do, where you truly want to go with your life. I think the universe starts to really work with you. And as long as you, Three of Cups in reverse, are willing to kind of give up the lower vibrational kinds of things, this means getting on a budget, keeping your eye on your finances, starting to get responsible in day-to-day life, starting to implement really healthy habits that actually end up saving you time, looking into those apps, maybe, again, diet apps, workout apps, any kind of thing that you can utilize technology would be really beneficial. And I feel like this is kind of a slow build for Virgo. Like you're going to start to see little by little, and it's going to make you feel so good. Like Virgo really does inhabit that need to feel like you could see progress cleaning things up, right? Like there's so much satisfaction in seeing the progress in things. And so February, I promise you, you're going to start to see the progress in things. However, if you're in a negative place and you're kind of turning to lower vibrational sixth house stuff, which could indicate not very good mental discipline. So find yourself slipping into those negative thought processes. You know, when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I wish this was different. I wish this was, and I hate the way this is. And, saying really unhealthy things to yourself, like, oh, I'm never going to be good enough to do that, or I would never have enough money to go there. This is an area where you will start to see those results as well. Again, it is a time when the inner self is going to start to become your reality. Who you are and how you feel about yourself on the inside will begin to show in the outside world. If you are not feeling well, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling low, you will find yourself, struggling with money, struggling with relationships, not feeling like anybody cares about you. That's how this energy goes. And because we're in this very fast moving air energy now, our thoughts really do grow and flourish much quicker than they have in the years before. I say that because, let me take a sip really quick of tea. I'm sorry, guys. Your antagonizing or your negative energy for this month is the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Cups. It's hard to imagine that these are negative energies. It's hard to imagine how an Ace of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune can antagonize you. What I do see here is the contrast, and I see this coming up a couple times throughout this 6-month period. I think the universe is going to start to show Virgo the contrast. Now, it may not necessarily be in your life. Here's just an example. This isn't exactly how it's going to go for everybody, but this is just an example. You will start to meet people. Like, say you're in this place where you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to meet the right person. I'm never going to fall in love. I'm never going to be able to trust anybody or have a healthy relationship. The universe is going to kind of bring you people that are going to show you differently. Maybe you will meet somebody or meet a couple and they kind of exude or exhibit all of the things that you've always wanted and you started to lose hope. I feel like the universe is going to start playing with you because you're starting to play with it. If you're doing those positive things, if you're thinking those positive thoughts, if you're cleaning up your mind, disciplining yourself, not allowing yourself to go to those darker places, or even if you do, because we're all human and that's what we're meant to do, you know, and it's definitely not a month to get down on yourself. It's not a month to focus on any failures. When you start to, you know, you have that negative thought and then you say, oh, but that's not rooted in reality. And I just feel like you get really good at bringing yourself right back down to where you need to be, on solid ground. Now, the Ace of Cups, I feel like, is an opportunity for you to love yourself. And I think the Chariot, and you see this is, the Wheel of Fortune is coming up quite a bit. And I think there's a lot of you that realizes the things in your life that need to change, the things that you want differently. And maybe you were afraid to say that before. Maybe you were afraid to disappoint other people. But here's the thing, Virgo, if you're doing the thing that you don't really want to do anymore, how much longer can you drag that with you? If you're with the person you don't want to be with anymore, you begin to see the potential of what it would be like if you could have something different. I know that sounds harsh, but the thing about this time period is that we are all being ushered into our soul tribes, our families. Most likely we've all had some pretty serious karmic relationships. We've probably all learned a lot of really hard karmic lessons. And I think because we're going to go through all these different levels of transformation in so many different parts of our lives, what the universe does do is allow us to kind of come into alignment with the people that we are meant to progress and grow with, the people that are nurturing to us. If at any time you've felt in your life like you just didn't have the right people, you just didn't know the right people, they're gonna start to come to you now. But you have to be open to it. You have to believe in it. So you can't be this person who is jaded or non-believing. It's really important to focus on your faith in the universe. I think the universe is starting to get things ready. And I think in March, like honestly, Temperance card, the universe is starting to really get it ready. There's a natural, steady progression here. Now, the overall energy for March and April is that of change. So first you grow the courage, then you integrate it. Now around this time we have the first Saturn Uranus square and Jupiter Uranus square. This is the overwhelming big theme for 2021. This is sixth house, ninth house stuff for you. So again, super mental, super mercurial, all about mastery. So I feel like this Temperance card is really all just depending on you. This is Sag energy. This is South Node in Sag. Integrating the karmic lessons will kind of decide how long this process is going to take. Now, the Temperance card is always indicating that it's happening. It's in the works. The universe is kind of lining things up. No, it's not happening at this very moment, but you know it is. I often say when the Temperance card comes up, you can kind of almost taste it or feel it in your hands. In the very least, you've gotten very good at envisioning it, allowing yourself to really link in, to really lock in the emotion that you get when you have that thought. This is all about the level of manifestation. Now, change, temperance, And oddly enough, this card, your supporting energy, came out sideways, just like this. There was no moving it. It was meant to be seen like this. The Wheel of Fortune appearing for the second time, I believe. Yeah, the second time in your reading. So the Wheel of Fortune was your antagonizing energy in February. It becomes a supportive energy in March. Things start to really integrate now. It goes from being like this nagging idea or the universe kind of pushing you in this direction. The thing is, the Wheel of Fortune is you have to be willing to make the changes. Virgo, you can't say, I want to find the love of my life when you are still talking to your ex every day. You can't say, I want to find a new job that really fits me better if you don't work on the resume. You can't say, I want to start my own business and never actually look into how to start your own business. So I think in March with this square, there'll probably at the least be things that happen that make you be like, oh, I should have really started the paperwork for my own LLC, or, those things are going to make you start to actually physically make this a part of your life. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of fixed energy going on as well. I mean, it's not just Uranus, it's Uranus in Taurus. And it's probably not small changes, it's probably big things. It's ninth house stuff. It's moving to other countries. It's going to different schools. It's changing your profession, changing your major in college. It's revolutionary. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's not an easy decision. So understandably, the Temperance card appears. And the Wheel of Fortune is really just asking you, how bad do you want it? What are you willing to do? Jupiter could really make things happen in Aquarius. It could really make miracles occur. But Saturn is there, so you will have to do work. There will be integration on a day-to-day routine process. You will have to start doing the actual paperwork. You will have to start following a budget. There are laws and rules and boundaries, and within them, everything and anything is possible. Now, the other supporting energy that comes out for you in March is the Moon, the Ace of Swords in reverse, and the Explorer of Wands. I think this is probably unrelated to that Wheel of Fortune. Not completely. The Wheel of Fortune is, and it feels like it's kind of a bigger thing. It might really be a career change or something that really changes your foundations. Maybe something about real estate or moving. Now, on a different thing, I think for most of you, there might be a relationship or something that's coming up, or this could be something that's kind of friend related. 6th, 9th could even be co-workers. The Moon, the Ace of Swords, and the Explorer of Wands. Well, the Moon is definitely, and I'm picking up a vibration of secrets. And I don't like when the Moon is next to an Ace of Swords in reverse, because this could indicate that you might find out that somebody has been lying to you. Now, the Moon does indicate that things are going to come to the surface. It may not be as negative as we're thinking. This is the Explorer of Wands. There might be somebody in your vicinity, maybe even at work, that has an interest in you. There might be somebody that you're not speaking to, somebody that you've blocked, somebody you haven't talked to. This could represent an ex, or maybe just somebody you don't even really know. And I think that they have some feelings for you. The Explorer of Wands is kind of like a growing sexual attraction of some sort. Ace of Swords and the Moon tells me, you have no idea. You may not even know who they are. I feel there's an energy of they're watching you. They might be kind of waiting and observing to see, like I said, if you're a Virgo that's wanting new love in their life but still hanging out with your ex all the time, you know, that Wheel of Fortune, make the decision, what do you want? Start living it, and then it will come to you. And I feel like this is clearly what is going to come to you. Keep in mind that you're attracting things right now, and you want to attract things from like a high vibe place, right? 2021, like, we're not going to attract those shadowy karmic partners, those people that show us all the things that we kind of probably need to address in ourselves. I think that was very 2020, and I think we've had our fair share of it. And, you know, you start to integrate the wisdom. The antagonizing energy, again, is the Six of Wands and the Hangman. Do not hesitate on something because of pride or ego. Pretty simple message there. If there's any part of you that's kind of doubting your intuition in a way, or dimming your light in some sort of way, maybe this is that fear, like, oh, I could never start my own business, or I could never, I can't write my own book, nobody would want to listen to me, or I could start my blog, but nobody would follow me. Okay, like, overcoming that stagnation. I think this is the universe kind of making you change your perspective. And I think it changes your perspective about the risks you're willing to take. Six of Wands. Six of Wands can make you really showcase yourself. It could allow you to really stand out, to show off your talents. But it could also hold you back. You know, if you're in a place of fearing that you'll screw up, or you'll do it wrong, or you're underqualified, or you'll look stupid, that's not going to do you any favors. Again, why the overwhelming energy is the Temperance card. It's all about how you feel about yourself, what you're willing to do, the level of change you're willing to go through. Now, I do think it's going to get really, really rewarding. I think April is a really huge month for you guys. But this is a month that is really all about contrast. Also, probably a good time to talk about what happens after the change, right? So April starts off as the Sun. Oh my God, I'm 40 minutes already. Good God. The Sun card of the Leo. So maybe you're dealing with a Leo. Now, the supporting energy, oddly enough, is also the Sun card of the Leo. My guess is that you're probably at least dealing with a fire sign here, or I get a North Node placement of some sort for some of you. This is all about this. And it's funny because this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, there's just flow of steady progress for you, Virgo, month by month. It's like I'm watching you grow into yourself. It's actually really cool. The antagonizing cards, the final row of each month, grows into your supportive cards in the next month. That means that there's pure alchemy going on. The struggles and the obstacles that come your way every single month actually put you in a better position for the next month. It's really that good. So this Hanged Man and the Six of Wands, that Six of Wands is like that lower octave of your ego, which could oftentimes be like, oh my God, you're going to fail. Don't do that. Don't express yourself in any way. But when we have double Sun, I mean, that's completely living in your authenticity. That's saying the things that you want to say out loud and knowing they are of value to people. Knowing that you are of value to people. It's also knowing that you deserve the good things in life. Now, here's the thing, Virgo. The other supportive energies are the Eight of Swords and the Five of Cups. The Sun can be an opportunity. It could be somebody that's very attracted to you. It could be a relationship of any kind, even a friendship, that is going to bring you a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. And I get the feeling that it's something that's very easy. Now, this could also be a career opportunity, or, you know, even just starting your own YouTube channel. Like sometimes, like what I do here, as silly as it seems, it's kind of like my sun card. I get immense happiness from doing this. And when you're doing the things that you love, which, by the way, all you have left is Pluto in your 5th house, which means now you can stand in your strength and your authority in your 5th house of what you love. The contrast is the 8 of Swords and the 5 of Cups. These are the parts of life that you didn't love. This is the parts of life where you sold yourself short. 8 of Swords is always kind of that keeping yourself stuck in situations or just in your way of living and in your very beliefs. Eight of Swords is kind of like maybe somebody said to you when you were younger, well, you'll never be pretty enough to do that. And you really, truly believed it your whole life. You know, you believed you weren't smart enough, or you weren't attractive enough, or you weren't talented enough to do this thing, even though it's something that you always felt pulled towards. And that's the thing, Virgo. That's the thing for everybody, anyone who's watching this. There's always a couple things, or that one thing that we have in our life that we're always pulled to. And a lot of times, for a lot of us, it becomes this part of life where everyone around you is like, that's not important. That's stupid. That's nonsense. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to pay your bills. And we believed it. We bought it. We bought that story. We lived it in the 8 of Swords. And then the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Cups is like looking back on your life and looking how that one belief held you back from so many opportunities. The supportive energies this month is your ability to look at your life really honestly and change it. Change those beliefs. Rewrite that story. You don't believe in that anymore. A story doesn't fit who you are. The antagonizing energies are beautiful. Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. First of all, Queen of Pentacles. This could be a spouse, it could be a parent, it could be some kind of an authority figure or a boss. In the Queen position, in kind of a receptive position, it feels to me as somebody who expects your support, somebody who expects your loyalty. Somebody that probably depends on you financially, emotionally. This could be one or several people. You could be the Queen of Pentacles who's kind of in this place of, oh, but I could never leave this job. There are people depending on me, even though you have the opportunity to go like live out your dream or move somewhere really crazy and beautiful. This is your antagonizing energy. So I think this could show you, this could be like just an expectation of yourself as well. This could be that part of you that says you can't let anybody down. But just as antagonizing as that Knight of Swords, and that Knight of Swords is running towards freedom, running away from that Queen of Pentacles, running away from that kind of mundane have to responsibility. I feel like that Knight of Swords is kind of just a part of you. I think that's what happens when Uranus in your 9th house kind of starts to make that square to the 6th, and all of a sudden things get really uncomfortable. Okay? So if you haven't made the changes, if you haven't started to like integrate the new things into your life in March, I feel like April, the universe kind of hands you your ass for it. Look, it gave you plenty of time to make these changes. If you were going to do it, you would have done it by now. But the thing is, you kind of have this soul contract. Like, there's more things you have to do. There's more people you have to meet. Universe kind of needs you to get off your ass and start believing in yourself. So I think what happens is Uranus comes around in that 9th house, and all of a sudden, no matter how responsible or dependable or loyal you want to be to people, your soul is running away. It's just running towards the thing it's really meant to experience. And I don't know how much you're going to be able to fight it with the Change card. I don't know. Supporting energy is that of the 5 of Cups and the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords is also where we kind of keep ourselves blinded. So be really careful about how you're making decisions here. Now, the last 2 months, this is very Virgo. This is very mercurial. This is very like, okay, I've made a decision. Okay, oh my gosh, no, let's go back. Oh my God, let me, it's almost feeling actually kind of Libra-ish in a way, just timid and kind of anxiety-ridden. So the last 2 months, you pull the card Doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. So yeah, 2021 starts to get really crazy after that first Uranus square, okay? Another wonderful thing that's happening for Virgo, though, is that Jupiter doesn't spend a whole lot of time in Aquarius. Not the full year like he typically does. He's kind of really speeding his way into Pisces. And the really big thing that happens in 2022 is Jupiter comes conjunct with Neptune. Now, that happens once every 12 years. It's kind of resetting a cycle, but this is your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. And so we're getting ourselves into the position of, because I always say the universe kind of prepares you for these transits, okay? It's not like lightning strikes and everybody's life changes. Like, you get kind of directed into new territories or new opportunities. So I think you start to get the opportunities in March and April, and then all of this fear and doubt starts to creep back into your mind. This is very typical Virgo thought processes. It's the anticipatory anxiety. It's almost better for Virgo if things happen suddenly than if you have a whole lot of time to plan it and plot it out. And that goes a lot, like, and I know I have so much Virgo in my chart, it's shameful. But you could overplan, right? Analysis paralysis. It's exhausting, which is, again, this feeling that I have in my head, like just overthinking to the point where your head hurts. Now, you say that the overall energy for May is the Page of Swords in reverse. This can be kind of dipping back into those negative thoughts. It can be kind of not feeling good about yourself, it could talk about a lot of anxiety. I'm also picking up some bad news This feels like bad news in a way. Now, I don't want you to be frightened, like it doesn't come with a tower or anything like that, but maybe just something that's kind of a disappointment. The supporting energies, yeah. 5 of Wands and Explorer of Swords. Page of Swords. I don't know if it's you or if it's somebody around you. And maybe it is this Queen of Pentacles if you've had to kind of disappoint somebody. Things might get a little bit ugly. Yeah, things might get a little bit ugly in May. There might be some kind of repercussion. Be careful if you're leaving a job or something, like know the contracts that you have signed, please. If you have like a non-compete and then you resign from that job and then you go work for maybe a competitor, not realizing that you had that non-compete, you know, the Page of Swords can kind of bite in the ass. Sometimes it is kind of a legal matter or a technical kind of thing like that. 5 of Wands on Explorers. Again, 5 of Wands is kind of that argumentative noisiness again, like kind of that fighting, arguing, kind of always feeling the need to either have to stick up for yourself or walk on eggshells around this person. Explorer of Swords, though, I feel like you're handling it a little bit differently. It's not like we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Now we have the Page of Swords in reverse. Like this feels like somebody else in your vicinity, maybe somebody you've been in and out of a relationship with. Maybe it's like that ex maybe that you don't want to let go of, or an old boss or something. The Page of Swords, it's either like just this negative person in your life that kind of just makes you feel negative. Pay attention to your energy around people always. If you feel drained or really negative around them, or if you're always like feeling like they're lying, not being able to believe what they're saying, I think that kind of comes to a head. Remember, there's doubt, and I really don't like the Explorer of Swords like that. Again, if this person can sometimes act kind of like a narcissist, there could be another layer of kind of gaslighting going on, or it feels like somebody's really trying to provoke you here. Now, that's a supporting energy, believe it or not. So I think whatever happens, it kind of forces you into speaking your truth and sticking up for yourself. That's what I feel this Explorer of Swords is. The Explorer of Swords is really no match for the Page of Swords. Like, this is somebody that's like coming at you with like meaningless nonsense insults, like things that aren't even true. Explorer of Swords is kind of more powerful. It leaves more of a mark and it feels a little bit more truthful. This kind of feels like you're kind of calling somebody out on their own shit. Now, the antagonizing energy is a 6 of Cups and a Page of Cups. I'm really getting something about children here, specifically the Page of Cups and the 6 of Cups. A couple different scenarios. It could be different for everybody. One, there could be, you feel like you need to protect your children in some way, or children that are involved in a situation here. This could be completely unrelated to the stuff earlier in the reading as well. Maybe something comes up with a child in the month of May, and you kind of have to protect them in some way. Could be a child, could be a sibling, could be, a really close friend. The page tells me that it's somebody that's younger in some way, or less experienced in some way. If you are getting into a relationship with somebody, there might be issues with your child and how they interact with this person. This could also be related with some kind of a communication from your ex. So maybe you're dating somebody, you're really happy. The ex reaches out to you, and maybe it opens up some wounds or some emotional stuff for you as well. Maybe somebody finds out that there's communication with an ex. Page of Swords could definitely be a misunderstanding or somebody kind of jumping to conclusions and taking it much worse than what it actually is as well. That might be a big message for some of you. If that is the case, the antagonizing energy feels like it's kind of unconditional love. So I think there will be, forgiveness if it is just a misunderstanding. Doubt. So it feels definitely like there might be some things that are said or done, and it could definitely be a misunderstanding, or it could be somebody lying to you. It could be involving children. But yeah, there's stuff that's kind of creeping in that might be making you doubt things. It could be, say you're going to move and you have an older child and you're thinking, okay, well, they're old enough. I can move to another state and they'll be okay. This is just an example. And then just before you make the move, something kind of happens with that child and you're like, oh my God, maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe I can't do this. It's that kind of a vibe, like just kind of planting seeds in your mind of like, maybe we can't do this, or maybe you won't be able to go out through with this plan. I don't think it ends up that way. I think you go through with all of your plans. Very sixth house Saturn stuff. So don't let those things, those mishaps. I have to check. I should have checked it. This might be around the same time that we experience a retrograde Mercury, which, by the way, is always big for you because you're a Virgo. But it moves into the air sign, so it also triggers more of that mercurial element. So I think for Virgos, these retrogrades might be kind of more aggravating than they have been in the past. If that is the case, please remember that throughout the year of 2021, if you're signing contracts or anything like that, be very wary, but just check the details, get second opinions. Certainly if you're doing real estate deals or banking deals, let somebody review those documents. If you're starting your own business, have somebody look at those contracts, okay? And I felt the need to repeat myself there, so that might be really important for some of you. Moving into July, the card is that of the Two of Cups. Now, of course, we all want to jump to the conclusion that this is true love and a soulmate, and you're coming together, making a commitment to each other. Often this also represents a meeting of minds. Now, I was called all that mercurial kind of feeling, and the Two of Cups sometimes can often just be some sort of a resolution, a closing of some sort, closure to a situation. The supporting energies are the Seven of Wands, the Three of Swords, and the Six of Wands. See, there is love in this situation for sure. You're feeling love in the month of June. Maybe you're coming together with somebody. Maybe this is coming together with an ex. Like I said, usually your antagonizing energy becomes your supporting factor in the next one. So maybe this is an ex coming back, or an old job coming back, or an old friend coming back. And I feel the Two of Cups. It feels very warm and loving. It feels very supportive. Now, remember I said that there's a lot about the contrast for you in 2021. It's a lot about the universe showing you the things that you couldn't have, or the things that you didn't even know were possible because you didn't know to believe in them. Seven of Wands, especially in this deck, always tells me that there are things that we are overcoming. Now, there's obstacles, there's delays. We know this. We also have the Temperance card here. So there's adjustments being made by the universe, okay? The Seven of Swords often indicates that there's perseverance as well. And the Three of Swords can oftentimes be kind of this negative card. It's about the wounds. Sometimes we meet people, like I've heard people say, you know, the hardest relationship is a healthy relationship you have after the abusive one. And I think there's some truth as well in the fact that we kind of get into our comfort zones, right? And there's a lot about us overcoming and changing, and then that doubt creeps in. Change is uncomfortable, and when we get uncomfortable, we tend to say, oh, but at least I knew how that other person would hurt me. At least I knew it was always going to be the same kind of disappointments, you know, the same kind of thing. And it became comfortable because you could easily emotionally detach from it. It's happened over and over again. It's almost becoming normal. This Three of Swords and the Seven of Wands is the inability to ignore it. And it actually feels really, really emotional to me because maybe there's somebody or someone or a situation in your life that you don't realize hurts you as much as it has. Maybe there are parts of you, wounds or scars that you have, you know, that you kind of have to feel, kind of have to recognize so that you can heal them. And maybe part of that healing is having to kind of say those things. The Three of Swords is swords. It's about communication. It's about maybe having to say to somebody, look, this is what you did to me. This is how it made me feel. This is how it made me feel about myself. This is what it caused. You know, if this is somebody from far, far in your past that hurt you, and throughout this process, you start to look at your life and you start to say, yeah, but if that person never said that to me, I would have never believed them. And then I would have never dated that person, or I never would have not gone to college, or I never, you know, like all those stuff, all that chain of events that occur from that first negative thought that was planted or seeded within us. And maybe this Two of Cups isn't even another person. Maybe this is balancing you out. This is balancing this shadow side. This is you becoming able to be intimate and vulnerable with people. This is you finding and falling in love with yourself. Appreciating all of the disappointments that you've been through and the things that you have overcome. And I like that because the Six of Wands is in reverse. See, the Seven of Wands is what you're overcoming. The Six of Wands in reverse and the Three of Swords is how you accepted less than you deserved. You settled. You allowed people to hurt you because you just didn't realize that there was better, that you deserved better, that you could attract better, that you could have better. I just think this whole journey is about Virgo realizing that a lot of the things that they've believed in their whole life aren't true. Now, the overall energy for the entire 6 months is the Eight of Cups. This is growth. This is ascension. This is emotional healing. This is walking away from the things that do not serve you, things that do not nourish you, regardless of how hard it is to walk away. It's about understanding your calling. It's about understanding your purpose, and it's about believing in yourself. It's about life not being able to guarantee that you will find better, but you choosing to go anyways because you know you deserve it. Eight of Cups is no guarantees. There's no contract that says that if you leave these 8 cups behind, you're going to find the Holy Grail. There's nothing like that. But there's something deep inside you that says that you have to try. And it's bigger than you. It's bigger than the choices that you can make. And the universe is kind of just make it happen. Two of Swords in reverse, as you're supporting energy, this means you're taking the blindfolds off, which means that you are going to go into the 6-month period where you get to see people for who they truly are and the role that they play in your life. You are taking the blindfolds off. If there has been any element of fantasy or, believing in people's potential and not understanding that they will never live up to it. Two of Swords in reverse. It's about a lot more than protecting yourself. It's about cutting the things out that aren't good for you. And again, that 7 of Wands. Right underneath it is a Hierophant. This is all about growth and ascension. And the 9 of Pentacles, which is all about your self-value and your self-worth. This is 6 months of some serious empowerment, Virgo. This is really amazing. I really think that you guys are stepping into a next phase of your life that is super powerful, and it reflects so much more of who you really are. And it's also going to bring you people at your vibration that can and will support you. Two of Cups, 6 of Cups. I think you're kind of gravitating towards the people that are meant to be with you for this next chapter. I do recommend that you kind of be open to the energies this month, okay? Don't try to plan and plot everything out. Really super important to stay mentally healthy this month at all costs. Well, this 6 months. Sorry, I'm used to saying month. All right, Virgo, I'm starting to lose my voice. My goodness. Sorry for the long read. I really do hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. I am so grateful that I'm able to do this with you. I will talk to you again in January. Have a great new year. Bye.